Welcome to Newslaundry Chhota Hafta. For the full episode, subscribe because it is behind the paywall and only subscribers get access to uncut, complete content. Newslaundry Hafta is our weekly wrap of all that made the news, all that didn't, and all that should have, and all that shouldn't have. We agree, we disagree, we critique, and occasionally we beat each other up. But it's all good fun. Subscribe.
This is a Newslaundry podcast and you're listening to NL Hafta.
अंग्रेज अपना लगान और न्यूज़ लॉन्ड्री अपना हफ्ता कभी नहीं छोड़ते. Welcome to another episode of Hafta from a relatively cooler Delhi from what has been so far a very mild summer by the standards we in Delhi are used to. We hope you are getting similarly favorable weather. We are recording this at 3:08 p.m. in the afternoon on Wednesday the 24th of May as opposed to Thursday when we usually record because this weekend we have a training planned for the entire office, so no one will be available to edit this. So that's why we're recording it a day early so we can finish it off. Also, we hope there'll be rain on Friday as has been projected in Delhi.
But despite all this, temperature I think has touched 43.
It has one. It's actually just 45.
And Manisha is down.
Manisha is down with heat stroke, which is why she's not joining us today. Also, I would just like to again communicate my disappointment that our Press Freedom Fund, as I'm reading this, has collected 10,78,000 so far. Our goal is 30 lakh. We have 7 days left. Maybe we were too optimistic in what our readers and supporters are willing to convince their friends and family. But we still have 7 days. Let's see if we can touch 30 lakh. This Press Freedom Fund is important because there are many stories on press freedom that need to be done, especially when channels like Times now are quoting without comment or irony or shock or anger or dismay that PM Modi should be the permanent PM of India because that's what Anup Jalota said in Australia. On that note, let me introduce the panel and then we'll get to the headlines. I'll introduce the guest first because after a long time we have a guest in the studio. Otherwise, guests are always joining us on Zoom from different parts of the country. We have Nihar Gokhale. Hi, Nihar.
Hi Abhinandan.
You can't see Nihar, but Nihar is a very earnest looking, very young man.
Thank you.
With a very alert face. He's an editor and leads the Chaos coverage at Morning Context. Chaos is a vertical that covers a variety of public interest issues such as climate change, environment, gig workers' rights. Because that's the first thing I asked him. What is the Chaos theme?
Yeah, everybody asks that.
Yes. Yeah. So I was predictable in that sense.
It's a great conversation starter.
So much for my pretensions of being unpredictable. So he writes on
but also everyone always asks, what does Newslaundry mean? So it's pretty much the same thing.
So why? Let me tell you what I got a call from my bank yesterday and he said, sir, whatever, have you linked this? Have you put a nominee, etc.? Is there anything else we can do? I said, no, thank you. So what is your email? I want to confirm is abhinandan@newslaundry.com. I said, so you run a laundry? I said, no, I actually run a news platform, but yeah, we keep things clean. So it's a kind of a laundry.
Sabki dhulai.
So Nihar has reported from across the country on everything from displacement, pollution, and environment violations to land regulation, corruption, and human rights. He has been associate editor at Land Conflict Watch, and his work has appeared in Scroll, via India's Pen Caravan, and also Newslaundry.
And Newslaundry, yes.
Yes. So you've done a lot of stuff, Nihar, at a very young age. Congratulations.
Thanks for calling me young.
You are young.
Yes. Hope so. One doesn't feel that way after 30.
Oh, dude. Wait till
Your laughter is like wait till you turn 40.
Yeah, wait till you hit 50.
Oh, 50. Oh.
Then we'll talk. But before I hand over... all the rest of the panel, I forgot. Nihar I was so swept away by his youth. We have our oldest amongst us, Raman Kirpal.
Hi.
Who will tell us...
progressing very differently than what I imagine.
Who will tell us in a few years what 60 is like. Also joining us is for the first time on the Hafta or second?
Yes.
Second time.
No, first time.
First time on Hafta.
I was on LTA religion before, but not,
that was Let's
not
Talk
on
About.
Hafta.
Correct, wasn't Hafta. So we have Shardool.
Hi.
Shardool, who heads our podcast, which is Mind Ki Baat, which I must say, congratulations, it's come out really well.
Thank you.
He's also put together the RSS, Let's Talk About RSS podcast, and Let's Talk About the BJP.
No, not BJP.
No.
BJP was, most of it is Anviti and Aditya's work. I just
and now you
looked at it in the end.
You're going to be getting us the one on Punjab soon, hopefully.
Yes. No, not hopefully, yes.
Okay. So Shardool has been with us for 3 years now?
Yes, 3 years and change.
Okay, and change. And joining us online from Chennai is Jayashree, the voice of reason amongst us.
That is true. Hello. I'm also quite young, so
You didn't mention Shardool's age group either.
I
Yeah.
have to say that.
And I'm also quite young.
Yeah.
तो सभी लग जाओ. चलो ठीक है.
Nihar said my age. Dude, I am octogenarian. I look younger than I am.
Oh, wow, that's a new twist.
Now, before Jayashree gives us the headlines, just reminding everyone about the Bangalore meetup. You have heard about our partnership and alliance with the News Minute. It will soon cement to a much more solid partnership and alliance. We are planning our subscriber meetup in Bangalore in the first half of June. In all likelihood, it's going to be on, I have the date here written. In all likelihood, it will be on the 17th of June, which is a Saturday. It is subject to change, but tentatively, that's what we've kept it at. We can keep it on the 10th, the Saturday before that, or maybe 24th, the Saturday after that, but maybe 17th would be a good date. So if you are a Newslaundry subscriber or a News Minute member, do mail us at subscription@newslaundry.com if you'd like to attend this meetup so that we can find a place that can accommodate everybody. Because like I've said in the past, we have had a few instances where we got more people than had actually registered, and it was difficult to accommodate them. So we need to make sure that the snacks don't run out, the Nimbu Pani doesn't run out, and you don't run out of space. So drop us a mail at subscription@newslaundry.com if you will attend the joint News Minute Newslaundry meetup. And it won't just be Manisha, me, Dhanya and us boring people. We will try to have a little panel discussion with someone interesting as well. On that note, Jayashree, over to you. What kept the newswallas busy this week?
Yes, so many things. First, the RBI has announced the withdrawal of rupees 2,000 notes from circulation. It said evidence shows the denomination is not being commonly used for transactions. The Delhi High Court on Monday summoned the BBC in a defamation suit. It's saying the two-part documentary casts a slur on the reputation of India, the judiciary, as well as Modi. I think the case was filed by an NGO. An expert panel constituted by the Supreme Court to oversee investigations into the Adani Group has said prima facie it cannot conclude whether any regulatory failure took place. So yeah, I think this we can discuss in the Hafta today.
Yeah.
So 19 opposition parties led by the Congress have announced their decision to boycott the inauguration of the new parliamentary building on May 28th. Meanwhile, the centre has introduced an ordinance that creates an authority that will administer the transfer and postings of bureaucrats in Delhi. This negates a May 11th Supreme Court verdict that said exactly the opposite. So Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal has met with Uddhav Thackeray, Mamata Banerjee and Nitish Kumar to garner support. I think he also plans to meet Sharad Pawar. So yeah.
And Congress is yet to react to this.
Yes. Fresh violence has been reported in Manipur. At least one person was reportedly killed and 2 others injured in separate incidents today. The ban on internet has been extended, while the clashes overall have left at least 73 people dead and over 35,000 displaced. I think 3 journalists who are covering the violence in Manipur's East Imphal district were allegedly assaulted on Monday. Modi on Tuesday addressed a grand community program for the Indian diaspora in Sydney. He hailed India-Australia ties as embodying mutual trust and mutual respect, while his Australian counterpart called Modi the boss.
So, and also he was greeted by Professor Babons, who I have interviewed, because the kind of intellectuals that Mr. Modi patronizes is phenomenal. I think a man is known by the company he keeps, and in that sense, I worry for our Prime Minister. So we will make, because Mr. Modi has met him and has tweeted out this clip of Professor Babons saying this.
Someone once asked me, since I do write a lot of humor and I poke fun at things, I'm a good-natured person, why don't you ever make fun of Mr. Modi? And I tell them it's because it's impossible to make fun of Mr. Modi. He doesn't give you anything to make fun of because he is simply so, he has such gravitas in everything he does.
So 2 things to that. One, always be suspicious of a person who calls himself a good-natured person. You see, I'm a good-natured person. So, and of course, you can't make fun of Mr. Modi because he never gives you an opportunity. Mitron, मैं तो opportunity देता. Bloody hell. So, because Mr. Modi has endorsed this gentleman, I'm duty bound to make his interview free. So, we will be putting out of the paywall for this entire week, maybe the next week also. Because if Mr. Modi has met him, the whole nation deserves to know how brilliant this man is. And not only Newslaundry subscribers. Yes.
Also, a moment's silence for the boss, Bruce Springsteen. I don't think he ever thought this may happen.
Yeah.
In other news, a government school teacher in Karnataka was suspended on Sunday for allegedly criticizing new Chief Minister Siddaramaiah in a Facebook post.
Yeah.
In Delhi, the wrestlers have completed a month of their protest at Jantar Mantar against WFI chief. They also staged a candlelight march to India Gate on Tuesday. I think thousands were in attendance. The much-anticipated third G20 Tourism Working Group meeting in Srinagar kicked off on Monday. There was heavy security blanket. And among the countries that didn't attend were China, Turkey, and Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
The Telegraph actually had a very interesting piece on this, where they were talking about the media interaction that took place in Srinagar. I think a journalist from France asked, why would you close schools? Does that not affect people's lives? And then that minister, Jitendra Singh, said, well, as a well-informed journalist, you must see similar things back home in France. And the journalist said, no, schools are not shut for such events. So then the union minister said, please don't project it like that. Other people will get apprehensive. So they shut it down very quickly.
But I will say it's actually quite a stroke of brilliance if you just see it from the point of view of if you were a lawyer, arguing for India's side, if you just talk about international relations.
Yeah.
To host the event in Srinagar, you're legitimizing your claim on it. I mean, of course, the three countries that didn't attend understand, but it kind of, puts them in a spot. It puts the other side on the defensive. It's quite a clever thing to do from that point of view. What do you think?
And I think about 60 people came. So that's a fairly large showing.
And it takes sheen out of Pakistan's argument because they've been saying that it's a disputed property, but India has clearly shown out. But it's a diplomatic thing.
Yeah, I think it's a clever thing that way.
It's a political thing.
Yeah,
completely.
but it's smart.
It is basically addressing the domestic.
That of course, but it's also smart.
It's very smart.
I don't think so.
No?
I mean, you are a host of a conference, right? Your point is to bring everybody together for some other larger agenda and goal of G20. So why get into these things, right?
Modi is a very
These are
smart.
only optics, right? It's about how
He's a very smart tactician. I mean, whether Kashmir or his show in Australia, everything is for the domestic.
I actually don't think he's a smart tactician. I think he's very good at getting basically he can make a spectacle. Trump. He can make a. Have you seen that Marvel comic where there's this guy called the Mandarin?
Yes.
The Mandarin.
No.
Spider-Man No Way Home.
No, not Spider. This is a Marvel.
Iron Man.
It's an Iron Man, correct. Iron Man 3, correct. So he's a Mandarin played by the guy who played Gandhi.
Ben Kingsley.
Ben Kingsley. He's basically, he's positioned as this Osama type character, but it's only for the cameras. Actually, he's a duffer from hell.
No, he might be a duffer, but he's a very smart politician. See, whatever. See, we all know that VHP is so powerful. I mean, they have such a huge presence outside India. So, exploiting that presence for domestic, viewers is something that is his idea. I mean, he has been doing it since 2014. And what optics? I mean, everybody that Wish Guru is going to come up with for the 2024 elections. So he's doing it very smartly.
I think one of the reasons it seems smart is because he has an ally of the media almost completely. Like if the same media each time he did this would say what a waste of money.
Absolutely.
मतलब America has cancelled this Quad meeting, Japan has cancelled. आप चल दिए पूरा एयरक्राफ्ट लेके हाँ जी हम आ गए नच्चन आए हो तो क्यों आए हो जी हो ही रहे थे मतलब किस दी बारात है क्वाड ते हो ही नहीं रहा. So what is the point? Sorry, Jayashree, I was saying in Punjabi that whose party have you come to dance at? The party is cancelled. So
it sounds better in Punjabi. So, I do agree.
So it's been a while since he went on a foreign tour, right?
Yeah, exactly.
This reminds me of 2014.
Yes.
After he became PM.
He would go.
आज कहाँ पे है मोदी जी?
Correct, exactly. That's the
किस hemisphere में है?
So next headline is the central government will allow the export of cough syrups only after samples are tested at specified government labs. This was notified on Monday and comes after the deaths of dozens of children in the Gambia and Uzbekistan last year. Samajwadi Party leader Azam Khan on Wednesday was acquitted by an Uttar Pradesh court in a 2019 hate speech case.
Yeah, so this means he gets his seat back, right? Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to the next headline, which is that in climate news, more than half of the world's large lakes and reservoirs have shrunk since the early 1990s. 56% of the decline is a result of climate warming and human consumption, according to a new study in Science.
That's huge, yeah, 56% since 90s. I mean, I was a young man in my 90s, yeah. That means if you just went for a trek or a walk, especially, Uttarakhand side, it was Uttar Pradesh back then, there was no Uttarakhand, you'd see streams, we'd drink water out of anywhere. Now you can't go for a trek without carrying your own water bottle. Yeah.
But you go to... you have been to Gomukh.
Yeah.
So Gomukh is receding?
Yeah, that of course.
It is
from the
receding.
time I went, apparently the glacier's 8 kilometers further back.
Yeah. So there is another thing. This report shows a chart. So a lot of South Asian countries, for us basically, specifically Pakistan and India, we are in extremely hazardous section. Like we face severe crisis. So this is a very worrisome thing which people overlook.
We can see that in our lakes, right? I mean, in India, most of the lakes are gone. We've built over them. Even Delhi itself.
Chennai is made.
80%.
The entire Chennai is made on lakes.
Yeah.
Built on lakes.
Forget climate warming. हमने तो घर बना दिया उस पे.
Bangalore?
Bus terminal बना दिए.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
Majestic in Bangalore is built on a lake.
Yeah. So many colonies.
फिर वो भर जाते हैं बारिश में.
But, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say there is one more headline.
Oh, sorry.
Busy week.
Which is?
Yeah, so there is one headline, so we'll end it on a slightly more optimistic note, which is that in the UPSC results, women scooped the top 4 ranks of the civil services exams 2022. Amongst the top 20 ranks, 12 were secured by women.
In fact, of 900 odd
results,
I think for the first time, more than 1/3 of posts have gone to women. Women are selected. More than 1/3. 34%.
What's the proportion of women in the civil services? Must be pretty low, right?
No, it was pretty low. It was
Pretty
never
low.
1/3. Never.
Never 1/3.
Never.
No, yeah, never 1/3.
For the first time, it has happened.
Right. So, I will start off with Nihar's expertise on a subject on which you apparently have done a bunch of reporting, which is this entrepreneur called Mr. Gautam Adani. This whole Hindenburg clean chit that they are saying that, the Supreme Court committee has given a clean chit. SEBI says they were not investigating Adani. The finance minister claimed that they were. Can you put some clarity on what is this Adani creature and should we buy stocks?
That I can't tell you, but I can tell you about the Adani creature.
The rest chalega.
Yeah, like if I can give you like the big background. This is a huge group, right? They are involved in so many sectors. And they have always been. The flagship company is Adani Enterprises, which has like some 100, 200 subsidiaries, further step down subsidiaries. They have subsidiaries in Mauritius, Singapore, Australia. They have, this is just the listed companies. So there are 6 or 7 listed companies with huge corporate structures. Then they have a lot of foreign entities, which belong to the Adani family. A lot of domestic entities as well. And Gautam Adani's elder brother, Vinod, whose relationship to the group is still not clear.
Yeah.
He is based abroad and he runs, I don't know, like infinite number of companies in Mauritius.
But
Bahamas.
he's not just based abroad, he's also not an Indian passport holder.
No, Cyprus
passport holder, which is why he was listed in one of the annual reports and one of the filings as a final beneficiary, but later they said he's not because as a foreigner he couldn't be. There was some complication regarding that, right? Because I remember reading a piece around that.
Yeah, I mean, they disclosed him as one of the ultimate beneficiary owners of Adani Enterprises because of the fact that he also has a stake in the family trust, which is the parent entity in India, named after their father, Shantilal. So you have this massive corporate structure, which I don't think anybody has really figured out. Sometimes I feel like even the Adani group doesn't completely understand where its reach is. So many jurisdictions, Cayman Islands, British Virgin Islands, Mauritius. And these are all tax havens and they're also known as secrecy jurisdictions. Because if you are running a company there, you don't have to disclose who the owner is, who your shareholders are.
But yeah, so what was the mandate of this body and what did they find or not find?
Yeah. So, well, the Supreme Court gave 2 directions, right? One was to SEBI, was to investigate a couple of things, like whether the minimum shareholding norms were violated or not, which is that a company should not, like a promoter should not own more than 75% of a company, whether that was violated or not, because Hindenburg indicated that probably some of the public shareholders of the remaining 25% were not public. They were Mauritius-based entities which probably were routing funds of the family. So one was that, and then whether related party transactions were disclosed as per the law, which is transactions between these labyrinth of entities. I mean, if you look at an Adani Enterprises annual report or their disclosure of related party transactions, that is like 6,000 or 5,000 entries. Like I have never been able to finish it.
Wow.
Yeah. It's like it gives a loan to one company, it takes the loan back. Then it takes a loan from that company, then it gives it back. just like hundreds of transactions.
Hmm.
So there are regulations around what you disclose, what you don't disclose, and also whether there was any manipulation of stock prices. So these three things SEBI was supposed to investigate, and this committee of people was formed, headed by a retired Supreme Court judge, to essentially get updates from SEBI on what it is up to, but also to look at the question of regulatory failure, which is an interesting point. That did SEBI fail? Yeah, I mean, people are calling it a clean sheet. It's not technically a clean sheet because they were never investigating Adani.
But didn't SEBI, ask for ED and CBI investigation
CBDT.
way back in 2004-5?
4 or 5, I don't know, but they told the committee that they went to the CBDT, so Income Tax Department, and to the ED, and both of them basically told them to get lost. I mean, effectively.
What year?
Recently. This is in the last few years. And in fact, the CBDT, I wanted to tell you this, they said that we don't conduct fishing expeditions.
Oh, really?
In foreign jurisdictions.
Oh, they only conducted Newslaundry. Got it.
But Newslaundry is...
Because we have been accused of everything from Raman sir being a fictitious creature who I'm making payments to. That why are these payments going to this person? Who is he? How do we know he deserves this money? I'm like, actually, he sits in the same office. So if you bother to meet him, you can always check. Then also we're accused of falsifying everything. So, but it's not a fishing expedition in our case.
Yeah, they told SEBI that you need to have some concrete case because this involves asking foreign regulators to share information.
If anyone from the income tax authority is listening, please have some irony with your chai.
No, this all investigations, whether CBI, ED, I know for a fact that whether it was 2G also. I mean, no. So whenever it comes to investigating, bodies abroad, say companies in Mauritius, we have the details. If you read Jagan Reddy, there are 10 charge sheets filed against him. So how he brought money he took money to Mauritius, how he brought it. This is there. But the maze is so heavy. So these CBI officials, my friends, I mean, they will just go visit, travel, and they'll come back. Because you go to one company, then second company, then third company. The maze is huge. So you cannot go to 100 companies. So if you see, in fact, it's a story waiting to be done. If you see all these investigations, all of them are stalled. When it comes to the foreign bodies, I mean, the companies abroad, all investigations have been stalled.
Yeah.
Nothing has happened. Nothing. Pick up any case, whether call scam or 2G scam, anything.
One is that things that were confusing is the report sort of exonerates SEBI, right? Saying that it cannot find regulatory failure, but it's also leaving it to SEBI to further investigate. And then in the committee's consultation with the ED and the CBDT, I think the ED investigated it for 6 weeks and said there's nothing, and then passed it back to SEBI. The CBDT passed the buck to the IT department, even though the IT department, I think, reports to the CBDT. SEBI, meanwhile, has said it cannot investigate wrongdoing in the absence of information from these agencies. So in this way, they're also sort of going in circles, and pointing fingers at the other. And also, I think, why was this not bounced to the Serious Fraud Investigation Office? I mean, isn't it the one that's empowered to look into corporate misgovernance and so on? Like, why was it not involved?
Yeah, like violations of Companies Act go to SFIO. I don't know if these are violations of Companies Act, but because it's a listed entity, SEBI is the right agency to investigate.
Yeah, but I think it's not just about the companies you keep, it's also about the company you keep. Yes, Shardool, you were saying.
So this issue...
I'll only come in with my uncle jokes. I'll leave the rest to you guys.
So we were discussing the maze that corporations create. Now, every big and small company creates that maze, right? Like Nihar would be able to tell us. In this scenario, in Adani Group scenario, the maze is exceptionally bad. And it's much more confusing than most corporate entities. Now, no matter what they say, two things are a fact. Their debt to equity ratio, like we discussed it on Chacha at the time, was bad in so many companies. Like Adani Green was exceptionally bad in it.
I remember there was a whole table of that. I think Indian Express had published for every company what is their debt to equity.
Like Nihar said, these group of companies were running on debt for a long time and they just recycled their debt. Now, Hindenburg alleged that they didn't have the details. They alleged that's why that there is some shady business involved. We have taken a long time. Now, in this investigation, there were two aspects as far as I understood, or I am no financial expert, or I have done no financial reporting. One was the inner aspect of Adani Group of companies, like how these companies were structured, how the ownership was. The other was, after the Hindenburg report came, was there any market manipulation? And
by them?
By anyone.
By anyone.
So what they said was, the company report, the panel report said that while Adani Group was fluctuating badly, like they were hitting lower circuit and some were hitting then upper circuit within that, but there was no market manipulation as such. And this report leaves SEBI in a very bad light.
See, market manipulation, all these things will come later. I mean, the first thing that you need to establish whether he's the main promoter, Adani, and does he have more than 75%?
That was the main thing.
That is the main thing.
Yeah.
Everything comes
So the point is to find out who's the ultimate.
So panel could not investigate that because it's not in their mandate.
They can't because the foreign companies, they won't be able to.
So the panel found that SEBI has actually been investigating since October 2020. They made some headway, but they found that these entities are labyrinth, right? So they found that Mauritius में जो company है, the beneficial owner of that is somebody in, say, Switzerland or somewhere. And those entities have more beneficial ownerships. And there is something called economic. There's something called economic interest versus ownership interest. So through these complex financial products, you can be in a situation where you're not the owner.
Yeah. Golden share जिसे कहते हैं.
But you get all the benefits. So they found that every entity had dual structure where there was an economic interest and a distinct interest. So the panel has said that the Supreme Court has given SEBI 3 months, but even if they have 30 months, they will not find.
They won't be able to find.
Yeah.
So whoever has made this up, can you just mail me? Newslaundry might need your services. All of you listening in, the Chhota Hafta, do subscribe so you can listen to the entire Hafta. We will see you again next week with the Hafta. Till then, subscribe, pay to keep news free, because when the public pays, the public is served. When advertisers pay, advertisers are served. Thank you. Goodbye.
All the Newslaundry podcasts are available on Stitcher, iTunes, and any other podcast platform.
Please subscribe to Newslaundry. Help us keep news independent. To catch all our podcasts on news, pop culture, current affairs, and sport, visit newslaundry.com. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And subscribe to our YouTube channel. Sun liya Afrika, mufat khoro. Not to brag or anything, but Newslaundry Hafta features in the top 50 in the world on SoundCloud in the news and politics category for podcasts. So do subscribe and see what you're missing, because when the public pays, the public is served. When advertisers pay, advertisers are served. Subscribe, help keep news independent and free. All Newslaundry podcasts are available on iTunes and Stitcher and any other podcast platform.